Your attention is a currency, and it is a finite currency. You only get so much of it. And I don't want you to get into a scarcity mindset about that. I just want you to understand that. I want you to really get it in your head that you don't get to do this again. You don't get to try it again. I have a theory that attention is the new currency. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Rochelle Fox, and you are tuning in to the Mindspo podcast, and this is my I Have a Theory series, where I am unpacking 31 of my theories over the 31 days of January 2026. And today, we're talking about time, energy, attention. These are very finite elements that you have in your possession. And the chances are, unless you have really thought deeply about the subject that I'm about to deep dive into today, you are probably squandering these assets that you have. And today is the day that I want you to change your relationship with these three elements and really start realizing how valuable they are. It's a funny thing, life. We grow, we get older, and our opinions and our perceptions of things change. And I think we always hear that from people that are older than us. We always hear that like, oh, you'll get it one day. And when we're young, we roll our eyes and think, yeah, what do you know? You're not in this generation. You don't get me. And we can kind of fight against the people that are trying to help us and trying to teach us things. But as I have gotten older, there are certain things that my dad has said, that people that are older than me have said, that my mentors have said, that now I'm really starting to understand the level of wisdom that they were trying to impart on me. And I want to be that person for you today. I want to be the person that wakes you up to the understanding that you do not get to do this thing forever. This is your one shot at being you. And although maybe you might reincarnate and get to experience being a human again, none of us know that for sure. But I do know that you get one shot as you in this body, in this time space reality. This is what you've got. And I think we can make the mistake of thinking that this goes on forever. And it doesn't. It doesn't go on forever. It ends at some point. And that means that the time and attention and the energy that you have now is really something to value. It is this very specific amount of time that you have on this planet. And the thing is, none of us know when our time is up. None of us know when we leave. It is a mystery to everyone. And the more I think about this idea and the more I really lean into the fact that I'm not going to be here forever, the more I value my life, the more I am clear about what it is that I want and what it is that I don't want. And that's what I really want to impart on you in today's podcast. I want this podcast to be a podcast that makes you really understand that what you have is precious, what you have is valuable, and what you have is something that you need to protect and you need to spend wisely. And we are living in a reality where so many people are using their attention in the wrong way. They are literally pouring their attention into things, situations, people, technology, loops, infinity feeds that do not matter, that do not fill them up, that do not make them feel any better for the time that they invest in them. And when we do this on a regular basis, what we are doing is we are literally pouring the currency that we have, which is our time, which is our attention, down the drain. And it is not something that you can get back. You cannot get back all of those hours that you have already spent scrolling in the doom scroll, feeling shit about yourself. You cannot get back all of those times that you have just binge watched a TV show because you were feeling miserable and you didn't want to do anything else and you just filled your head with a whole bunch of shit that just made you feel even worse. You don't get any of that back. And I'm not saying that you can't do those things in moderation. I love a little scroll here and there. I love my favorite series here and there. But I have come to the very, very strong awareness and understanding that if I allow myself to do those things without any kind of limitation, without any kind of super awareness on what they are actually doing, I'm going to wake up as my 80-year-old self sitting there and I'm going to be hitting myself in the head going, why did I waste the time that I was given? Why did I waste my one shot at me looking at everyone else living their dream life, but not actually living my dream life for myself? Why did I spend my one shot at me just binging out on a series, getting stuck in some kind of timeline with some reality star that I don't even care about now that I'm 80, rather than actually going out there and spending it with the people that I love, or being with my children, or being with my family, or just going to the beach and enjoying the elements and the fact that I am a freaking human being on planet Earth, which is so lucky in itself. And this is the thing about the time that we are living in. I know that there is going to be a point in the next 20, 30 years where so many of us are going to look back and really understand what we had and what we squandered. It's funny because, when we talk about abundance, right, and we talk about money, I'll always tell you that there is more than enough money in the world. There is a limitless source of abundance. You can always make more money. Money is infinite. You spend it, it comes back. And that is a beautiful thing. And so many of us are in this lack mentality with abundance, and we, really hold on to it. We're really careful with it. We really squander it. We really kind of overanalyze how we're using it to the point where we'll end up having a distorted relationship with money and a lack relationship with money. However, no one really does this with time. And I really do feel like the relationship that most people have with money is more so the relationship they should probably form with the time and attention that they are given. Because the thing is, the money can come back. You can make more of it. But time, I don't think you can. Attention, I don't think you can. Once you spend it, it is gone. It is not something that you get back. And the thing is, the more you spend it on the things that are draining you, the more you spend it on the procrastinating, the more you spend it on the doom scrolling, the more you spend it on this bullshit stuff that is just draining your energy and your life force and making you feel like shit, it actually has a compound effect of making you feel like shit. It has a compound effect of making you feel addicted to these negative streams and these negative timelines. So I want you really to understand that your attention is a currency, and it is a finite currency. You only get so much of it. And I don't want you to get into a scarcity mindset about that. I just want you to understand that. I want you to really get it in your head that you don't get to do this again. You don't get to try it again. You don't get to go back to your 20s again. You don't get to go back to your teens again. And it's funny, since I got into my 30s, I really realized wow, my 20s are done. And although things are only getting better and I'm loving my life and I really do believe the best is yet to come, there are certain things from my 20s and certain eras where I'm like, damn, I don't know if I'm ever going to have that level of freedom again. And I have a lot of freedom in my life, but I have now built businesses and grown things that require a certain level of responsibility. And to keep those things alive and to keep doing those things, it has required surrendering a certain level of freedom. There is always a part of me that is going to be thinking about how things are running and wanting to manage things. And I now have a team. For example, in my 20s, I was running my businesses. I didn't have a team. Not having a team, oh my gosh, it was a completely different level of freedom. It was a completely different level of responsibility and pressure. Once you have a team, you now have people's livelihoods that you have to look after. And I'm so grateful that I can do that. I love that I've built a team. I love my team. But there is a freedom of not having a team and being in my 20s, kind of doing things more rogue, that I'm never going to get back. And I wish in those moments I really understood that that was a chapter, not a book. And I don't get to do certain chapters again. You don't get to do your 20s again. You don't get to do your teens again. You don't get to do your 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s again. Like, they are all finite experiences, and you are constantly growing. You are constantly aging. And this isn't something to get scared of, but it's something to be aware that your attention and your time and your energy and what you spend during those chapters, they impact the rest of your life. How you spend your 30s will impact how your 30s go. How you spend your 30s and what you do and what you put attention and time into in your 30s will impact how your 40s go. And this is very, very true, especially when we talk about things like health. The time, energy, and attention that you put into your body in your 20s and 30s is going to impact you in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. It is a compounding game, right? Compound interest is really the game of life. It is always like, what are you doing on repeat? These are the patterns. These are the things that you are creating in your life, because these are the things that you're putting your time, your energy, and your attention into. And your attention and your time is finite. Even, I want you to think about the concept of attention. I think everyone understands that there is only so much attention that you have every single day. You know that time when it's been a big day and you've been focusing on so many things and you've been working on all the projects, and you get home and your attention is just fried. You could not talk clearly and get an idea across for the life of you. I know this too well, because quite often with the time zones, with working with my team, I'm up very late. And I think sometimes my team think I'm just 1/10 of the person that I am, because I'm always speaking to them really, really late when I'm overseas. It's always in this very, very drained, tired energy at the end of the day, because they are in Europe and sometimes I am in Australia, and I have lived a whole entire day. I've been focusing, I've been working, and then I have to talk to them when they start their day so I can get them set up. And my attention is nada. And I don't get more attention for that day. It's not just a macro thing, it's a micro thing. You have a finite attention span for the day. You also have a finite amount of willpower for the day. There is a finite amount of dedication and commitment that you have throughout the day, that once you have willed yourself so much and you've just constantly chosen and chosen and chosen, your subconscious will take over, and then you might go back into old patterns and the willpower will dry up. This is why so many people recommend working out first thing or doing the hard thing first, because it requires effort, because it requires willpower. It requires your attention, and your attention is finite. Your attention, my friend, is your currency. It is money that you literally have in a wallet. And I want you to think about this metaphor. I want you to start thinking about your attention and your time as actual currency that you hold every single day. And every single choice that you make is you choosing to spend your finite currency on that thing. And once you spend it, you don't get it back. However, if you spend it on the right things, it will compound over time and it will give back to you. What are the right things? Well, that really depends on your goals. What is it that you want to invest your time, energy, and attention into? Is it your family? Is it your relationships? Is it your work? Is it showing up or doing content? Is it working out and looking after your body or eating healthy food? These are all things that will compound over time and they will give back to you. But if you're spending your attention and your time on doom scrolling, on comparing yourself to other people, on just binging out on Netflix for hours a day on the couch, on eating shit food and not looking after yourself, on just rotting and lying in bed and just not really doing anything, that is not going to give back to you. That is just going to deplete you even more. And if you are listening to this, then you're like, but hey, Rosh, like that's how I look after myself. That's how I rest. Like I like to rot on my bed and watch my series. A little bit of rotting is okay, but there are 7 different types of rest that you actually really need to understand and look at and use to actually recharge yourself. And if you're interested in understanding what the 7 different types of rest are, because this is something I had to learn for myself and it really changed the game for me and how I rest, how I recharge, how I fill up my own cup, I'm going to link the episode down below in the show notes and the description so you can go and watch this episode and listen as well, because that will explain like how you can actually recharge your cup in a way that is going to give you dividends and give you energy back rather than just deplete you. And bringing it full circle back to this metaphor, when you do anything, any choice that you make, anything that you spend time on, anything that you think about, right? Because your attention isn't just your time, it is your thoughts. What is going on in your head on a daily basis? And this was a huge one for me. I had a few situations last year that were really, really difficult for me in my personal life, and I really, really struggled with them. And I was thinking about these things nonstop. And this is really interesting because what your attention does, what your mind does, is if it feels like there is danger, if it feels like it is in a state of hypervigilance and it's fearful and it feels like it hasn't finish the loop of something, what it will do is it will just keep happening inside your mind. So if you've ever had a situation where you've had a disagreement with someone, or you've had a run-in with someone, or you had a fight with your partner, or you had some kind of massive work stress that wasn't resolved, what happens is a lot of the time your brain will just keep thinking about this thing on repeat. You'll keep rereading the messages, you'll keep rereading the emails from your boss, you will keep psychoanalyzing the thing again and again and again, and it will go on and on and on and on in your head. And when that is happening, what that is doing, it is sucking your attention, sucking your life force out of the present moment. And it is putting it in the past. So you are just tripping on the past. You were stuck there emotionally, you were stuck there physically. And what you need to do when this happens is you need to practice somatic regulation techniques. So I want you not to focus on your head. Meditating isn't going to help you in this case. Writing some journaling prompts, not really going to help you. It's about getting into your body and releasing the energy from your body, because what's happening is your nervous system is stuck. It's paralyzed in this loop, and it needs to feel the full emotion, or it needs to release whatever is going on. How I like to do this is somatic shaking. I also like to go and do meditation walks. They are so powerful just to like move through some of the things that I'm going through. I have written so many guided walking meditations for very specific pain points, for letting go of judgment, for regulation, for forgiveness, because when we are walking and we're moving with the emotion, when we're allowing ourselves to get in that bilateral stimulation, which is walking step by step while thinking about the things that are going on, while feeling them in our body, while actually getting out of our heads and getting into our bodies through the walk, and then doing somatic cues, that is when you're going to allow whatever is flying up in here to be released, to really be brought into the body so you can feel that emotion. And I quite often really can feel into my emotions when I'm on a walk. Sometimes when I'm in my house, when I'm just by myself, it's hard to tap into my emotions for some reason. Maybe it's because I live with my partner full time and I don't want to like break down in front of him for whatever reason because he's having a really good day or whatever it is. If I go for a walk, sometimes I'll walk, put on my sunglasses, listen to one of my walking meditations, and I'll have a big fat cry, or I'll have a little scream to myself somewhere in the park. It is so healing and just the best. And I wrote all of these walking meditations that can help you with this on the Mindspo app. And I use these walking meditations myself. And the somatic movement that I'm talking about as well, you can practice all of that too on the Mindspo app. I have a whole entire section on the Mindspo app called somatics and a breathwork section. And these two practices, somatic meditations and breathwork, as well, three of them, walking meditations, to me, that is really how I get out of the feelings going on up in my head, the loops that are happening, the ways that I am spending my attention that are negatively draining me because it's all up in my head. And instead I bring it into my body. I let it move through my body. I feel it. I feel it to heal it. Like I allow the whole entire emotion to move through me. And then guess what? Your brain shuts up. Oh my God. It is the best feeling when your brain shuts up. Oh my gosh. When you have had a looping thought and your attention has been spent for days and days thinking about some bullshit, and then finally you get it out somatically. Halla frickin' Luya. Gotta tell you, I love that. I love when I do a big fat breathwork session and then I just scream and yell and cry at the end and break down. And then I go about my day and I'm like, wow, that bullshit thing that literally wasted 3 days of my life that I just kept thinking about is now gone, because I allowed myself to feel it through my body. I allowed myself to get in the emotion, to let it process and get it out somatically. And so many people are literally losing years of their life because they are mentally ruminating on things that are sucking their life force and killing their attention. And I can say this because I was one of those people. I used to be someone that was addicted to thinking about things over and over and over again. I was so into that mental masturbation that it was ridiculous. I look back and I think I've lost a year of my life thinking about things that I shouldn't have been thinking about that were just bullshit, because I wasn't allowing myself to feel it, because I was so in my head, so logical and so disconnected from my body sometimes and dysregulated sometimes that I wasn't bringing the feeling into my body. I wasn't somatically experiencing what was going on. And we are having a human experience. You are in a body for a reason. You are having a somatic experience, okay? It is not just a head experience. If we were meant to just have a head experience, we would have come here with just heads and we would be floating around like Futurama, right? Attention isn't just what you do. It isn't just what you can see. It is what you think as well. And it is all currency. And it is one of the most valuable things that you have. I always like to say that peace of mind is the most valuable thing that you have. And when you look after your attention, when you look after your time, when you safeguard your energy, you are going to feel a sense of peace of mind, because you are not going to be sucking your life force into things that are draining you, that are draining your peace. And I want nothing more, as I always say, for you to be healthy, wealthy, abundant, and free. And I want the best for you. I want you to feel the peace that is available for you. And that comes from being so aware of your attention, because your attention is your currency. And this is also something I'm sure you've heard of. We are living in the attention economy. Gosh, this is a whole nother podcast, but the whole entire world at the moment works on the fact that you are spending time on these apps, that you are spending time on these different streaming services. That's how these things make money. It is through your attention. It is your choice. And when you give something your attention, you are literally investing into that thing. So be careful where you put your attention. Be careful where you put your energy. Be careful who you let ruminate in your mind. And if someone has been in your mind for too long, it's time to kick them out. And you kick them out by somatically getting them out of your mind, by allowing yourself to feel whatever you were scared of feeling, by doing whatever it is that you are resisting. And it's through that resistance, it is through meeting that shadow, that part of you, that you are going to feel so much freedom. So my friend, remember that your attention is your currency. I want you being very aware of where you put your attention from this day forward. I want you to be investing it in the right things. A little action step that you can take from this podcast is get out a piece of paper and write attention, and write positive and negative, and write all of the things that you've been focusing on, all the things that you've been thinking about, all the things that you've been spending time on, all of the things that you've been watching, all of the people that you follow, everyone that is in your universe, because you have a little universe. Everyone has this little universe, this little sphere. Your little universe is different to my little universe. We are all living in our own reality because we are creating our reality through our thoughts, our feelings, and what we are thinking and entertaining on a regular basis. So what you see and what you perceive and how you feel is unique to you. And you can curate the experience by curating where you put your attention, where you place your energy, because it is currency. You got to remember it, you know it, and I want you to be mindful of it from this day forward. If you want a resource that's going to help you really understand this and understand your subconscious mind a lot better, I want to just do a shout out for my book. I have no sponsors on this podcast at the moment, so the way that you can support me in continuing to show up and give you these episodes is through my products, my programs, my app. So I have the Mindspo app, which is really where I put all of my best stuff, but I have a book. It is called Magnetic: The Secret to Manifesting Health, Wealth, Love, and Happiness. You can listen to it as an audiobook if you like the sound of my voice. If you're like, I've heard enough of Rochelle's voice, then go and get the actual book. If you get it in Australia, New Zealand, and also the UK, it comes as this beautiful hardback book. It is gorgeous. Like, it is a coffee table book. It's not just a personal development book. It really is a feature piece. And I think around the rest of the world, for most other countries, it is paperback, but it is still the same cover. It is still beautiful. It is a thick, chunky, amazing personal development Bible that will really set you up for success. And if you are reading Magnetic, slide into my Instagram DMs at Rochelle_Fox. I love hearing from my readers. There is nothing I love more than waking up in the morning, checking my Instagram story mentions and seeing you guys mention the podcast and share the podcast, and also share photos of the book. It makes me feel like a little kid inside. It's still the best feeling. I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to it. So anyway, your attention is your currency. So spend it wisely, because I want the best for you, and the best is yet to come for you if you are mindful of your attention, if you choose to show up as your best self. And your best self is someone that knows what is worthy of your time and attention and energy and what is not. So my friend, never forget that you create your own reality. So go out there and make some freaking magic, and I'll see you in the next one. Over and out.